Okay, so we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. I think most people I've seen here before, so we don't need that much explanation. Just as I said in the beginning, this is not a webinar, it's a cafe. So if you want to speak up, then by all means do so and ask questions. The goal of today was to talk about product from Aleyant. The main product we deal with is Pressero, but they have a product called eDocBuilder, which either slots into Pressero or can be used as a separate application. And it is used for making templates that someone can go online and order stuff with. And the goal of today was to come up with something that, or actually build something from scratch, show you what the solution can do and where the limits are as well, because I think that's important for something like this as well. And walk you through it, the different possibilities. Again, we're trying to make this as practical as possible. So if you have specific things you would like to do with this or like to get explained, then just interrupt and ask. And it's very easy for me to say that because I'm not going to do this this demo again. So this is Helena who is going to walk you through it, and I'll keep an eye on the chat window as well if you prefer to ask questions through chat. So Helena, they're all yours.
Okay, thank you. So this is what the interface of eDocBuilder looks like. You can see all of my templates here, and what I can do from here on is either create a new template or edit an existing one. I'll first of all show you an existing template that we created to start with. It's the same one that I showed in the Pressero Café. For each template, you have 4 options. You can either edit it, test it, delete it, or duplicate it. I'm going to click on the test button now, and that will open a window, the same one that your customer will see, and where your customer can edit the design. So here you can see a PDF of 2 pages, front and back. And at the back of the PDF are some editable fields, and you can see them on the left here. And when you hover over them, you can see where exactly on the PDF the field is placed. And to edit it, you just have to click it and insert your name. And when I have a name, for example, that is longer than this field, like for example, Michiel's name, you will see that the size automatically changes. And this is happening because I checked the option scale to fit. What I can do here is also change the fonts and change the color. And here I have the option to choose between 3 colors, which are the brand colors of Sushi Penguin. So you can link a color palette to a field, so you can make sure that your brand guidelines are protected. And I can also change the opacity and even rotate it, which is probably something I should turn off for this field. But when I go to another field, like the title here, for example, I will see that I'm only able to change the text itself, but I'm not able to change the font or color. So for this field, all of these options are turned off. So you can completely choose yourself which options you let your customer, you link to a particular field. What you can also do is for the address here, for example, link some drop-down options to it. So here I can't enter text, but I can choose between some predefined options. Same for the image here as well. I can choose between some predefined images. Normally, you can also upload an image, but that is turned off here. So these are the basics for the template itself. And when I go back to eDocBuilder, I will show you how to create one. So how I can do this is either by clicking on the Create Template button or by creating a template in InDesign. So for this, I need to go to InDesign and create a document. For this example, I will show you a page of a magazine. You can, of course, add multiple pages, but for this example, we'll stick with just one page. Using A4. Two columns. There we go. So I'm going to add a title field, a text field, and 2 image fields. I'm just going to use Lorem Ipsum text here. And longer text fields, and this I'll fill with some placeholder text. And then 2 image fields. Okay, and when you're done with the layouts, you have to define each field to properly upload it to eDocBuilder. So there is a plugin you can install for InDesign, and you can find it then under Window, your eDocBuilder. And what you have to do then is click on each field you want to make editable and give it a name. So as you can see here, you first of all have to choose the type. For a text box, you have 4 options. The first one is text box, and that's just a regular text box of 1 line, which is perfect for the title here. Then you also have text area, which is the same as text box, but with multiple lines. So I would choose this option for the text field here. And then you also have rich text editor, which is also the same as the text area, but with more options for formatting. And then also barcode, but that's not relevant for this example.
But where did you, this is a plugin, correct?
Yeah. And
you can get the plugin from the Aleyant website, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's not that hard to install. It's just an installer that you have to download from the documentation site of Aleyant and then install it in InDesign.
And are there restrictions to the version of InDesign that it works for, or?
No.
No.
So for the title fields, I will just fill in title. Same for the text fields. Here I will choose the text area because it has multiple lines. And then I also have to define the image fields. Here I have some other options, standard image uploads and advanced image uploads. This is basically the same, but when you choose advanced, you can also crop your image. So I'm going to use this one here. Yeah. And when you're done naming every field in InDesign, you can upload your template to eDocBuilder. This can be done by clicking on the hamburger icon here and then choosing Upload Templates. And then you have to give it a name and choose the template type. You can choose between 2 options here, standard form and interactive form. With standard form, your customer will not have the option to change the position of text fields and image fields. And with interactive designer, he will have these options. So I will choose interactive designer for this one. here. And then we have to wait a second.
So what is important to notice is that what just passed in the dialog box is that it is, as far as I know, it's not actually uploading the InDesign file, is it? It's converting it to PDF.
Yeah.
And then sending some additional information to there, which is important, of course, mostly on the server side. Well, it's important for two reasons. One, it means that there is a conversion, and that always means that you have to check what happens on the template side, of course. But what it also means is that on the server, you don't actually use InDesign or InDesign server, which from a licensing point of view is not unimportant.
Mm-hmm. So when I now go back to eDocBuilder, I will see that the template is uploaded correctly. And then I can click the edit icon here. And that brings me to a new page. You here have 5 different tabs, and the first one is template info. This is basically the general settings of your templates. So you can here change the name, add a description. You can change the owner of the template in eDocBuilder. Or when you selected the wrong type of template in InDesign, you can later change it here. And what you can also do is when the customer is done editing the templates, you can give him the option to download a proof PDF, or even let them download a print-ready PDF file as well.
Elena, there's a question from Jan, meanwhile. When it converts this from InDesign to when you upload it here, your InDesign file, does it also do color conversion? Or if you have an InDesign file where you have CMYK or spot color, will that still be CMYK and spot color on the form that you have here in eDocBuilder as well?
I'm not sure, but I think so. I think it uses the default PDF presets that you selected in InDesign to convert it to eDocBuilder. So
yeah, I think, Jan, what happens is that, like I said, it converts it to a PDF document and it uses that as a background kind of for a lot of the stuff. So that will all be preserved. But I think even for the elements that are converted, that it is going to use the styles that you have in InDesign, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm. So that brings us to the second tab, which are the assets. Here you can see your master PDF, and you can also download the InDesign file you created. When you create a template from scratch in eDocBuilder, you will have to use this section here to define the number of pages and the page size of your document. But you also have to upload here are the fonts. So when you're using fonts that are not embedded in eDocBuilder by default, you can upload your font files here. So these files must be an open type or a true type format. And what you can also add here are some image picker groups. So this one was used for the logo here. I uploaded some predefined images, and this can be done here as an image picker group. So I'll create one just to show you how it works. And then I have to select them all and click on include these library images with this image picker group. What I can also do under assets is add a surface wrap. This is basically a Photoshop mockup, but I'll show you an example of this one later. And when you're done creating your templates and adding your fonts and your images, you can go to field setup to add the details to your fields. So here you can see an overview of the fields. They are collapsed by default, but what you can see here is the type of the fields. So image or text, you can see the page of where the field is placed on your PDF. This one is a one-page PDF document, so they're on the first page, and then you can see the name. To expand them all, you can click here. And what you first of all see is in red the position of the field on the PDF. So this way you can graphically see where exactly the field is positioned. And then you have some other new tabs under each field as well. The first one is field type, and here you can change the type of field to image or text, and you can change the data from where the field will come from. So in this case, it will be for each field user entry because the customer will enter their own text and images. And then the next step is data capture. So here, what you can change here is the user control type. So this is the same as we saw in InDesign, but here are some new options added. And these are the image picker groups that we created earlier. So I'll link this to this image. And then the customer will be able to choose between only these images. What I can also change here is the requirements of the fields. When I uncheck this, it won't be required. When I let the customer upload an image, there is some other options here as well, which are the image quality ranges. So when the customer uploads an image to this field, he will, and the quality is higher than 200 dpi, he will get a notification saying that the quality is okay and that he can upload the image. But when he tries to upload an image where the quality is lower than 100 dpi, he will get a notification saying that the quality is too low. And here you have two options. The customer can either upload the image anyway, even though it has poor quality, or you can deny your customer from uploading an image where the quality is lower than 100 dpi. Then you have a format tab and field scripting tab. This one I will show you in another example. And then you have positioning, where you can define the positioning of or change the positioning of the fields. And then at last, the rules. So for an image field, I have these options. So I can let the customer be able to delete the field, to move it, resize it, rotate it, change the order, and so on. When I would check this, where the customer can move, resize the fields, it is also best to fill in a minimum size of the field and a maximum size of the fields. And when I go to a text field, I will see some other rules related to the fonts, where you can choose whether the customer can change the font family, size, and so on. So when you're done changing all of this, you can click on Commit Changes and go to the next step, which is the Field Designer. When you created your template with InDesign, you probably won't use this tab, but when you create a template from scratch in eDocBuilder itself, you will have to create the fields and insert them here. So what I can do here is insert another image field or text fields or edit an existing one. So when I click on this, some new options will open here as well. Most of them are the same as in the field setup tab, but there are also some other ones like style here. When I want to change my font here, for example, or the size of my font or alignment and so on, I can also do that here. I can also change the layouts and the rules, which is the same. These are all the same options as on the field setup. So that's basically it on how you need to create a template. So when you're done, you have to click the Save and Publish button, and you can test your templates. So this is what your customer will see, where you can change the text and the images. Let me now show you another example of field scripting. This one here. So this is a test document, and I added 3 fields here. First of all is a phone field. And when I insert my number here and click on Update Preview, I will see that it's automatically reformatted with points in between. And next up, we have address information, which is the same as the sushi penguin example. And then you also have an email field where some default text is added. And that's maybe easy when you work with a company where everyone has the same email address, and then they only have to insert their name here. And then linked, these 3 fields are all linked to a QR code, and this can be used as a digital business card. And when you fill in everything and click on Update Preview, and when you have a QR code scanner on your phone, you will see that the phone number, email address, and the address are shown there. You can then make these fields invisible and only show the QR codes there. So let me show you another example that we created.
So make invisible, you mean that you can have fields that are not appearing as printed objects as well, correct?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. You can then go back to what you can do then is under field setup, choose non-printable area, and then it will be showed on the PDF. And then you can also only show your barcodes, your QR codes on the PDF.
And how did you do the formatting for this phone number?
I was going to show it, but I forgot.
Ah, okay.
So these options are set on your field setup. Let me first of all show you the phone number. So this is only a matter of selecting an option here. So here you can choose under text reformats, the reformat option. So you have some predefined ones, but you can also insert your own codes when you want something else that's not available here. And then you have to check the always reformat button.
Okay.
For the email address, that was only a default value. So then you have to click on data capture and insert a default value here. And for the address, you also have to go to the data capture tab and click here under list options and insert for each line an address option. And when you want to insert a hard return, you have to insert \n.
Yeah. And then for the barcode part,
that's the
can you choose what that one does, or is it always, no, it's just...
What you have to do is, first of all, under field type, select the barcode option, and then go to the field scripting tab. And then you have to insert some code. Okay. And I copy-pasted this code from the documentation from Aleyant. So that is all documented, and you can choose what exactly you want to add to your barcode.
Yeah, but this is in the form of a V card, but I could just take the name or the email address and insert it in there as well, because there are variables in there that you...
Yeah, what you have to do is use this name as the name of your fields that you want to add to your QR code.
Yeah. To answer another question, and there is another one I'm not sure I understand. I suggest we keep that one to the end, but to answer one other question, is this only for use in combination with Pressero, no. That is, of course, the easiest way to do it, because in Pressero, when you make a product, you can decide whether there is a PDF to be uploaded or whether it is linked to an eDocBuilder template. So eDocBuilder is already integrated into Pressero, so that's easy. But eDocBuilder is in fact a standalone product as well. So if you already have a website or something like that, and you just want to use the eDocBuilder functionality, then you can embed it in another website as well. It would, of course, involve some setup and getting it to work. And I'm not terribly familiar with the API, but it can be done, and I know it has been done. So it is available separately as well.
Yeah. I have two more examples that I'd like to show. The first one is this one, which is a sticker that we created. So here are three editable fields. First of all, here is a text field where your own name can be entered. Then you can change the color of the backgrounds, and you can change the icon here.
This was an example that was made, if I'm not wrong. This is for a horse, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the word in English is for that, but the thing you put your foot in when you ride
I have no idea. This thing.
Yeah, that thing. So apparently there is a company who makes customizable stickers for those things, because of course you can't ride a horse unless you have a unicorn or something on the side. So.
So this shows you that you can also add a mockup to your templates to let the customer show you how it looks like at the end, basically. And then I have one more example of some underwear. So this was for a company that has their own underpants where you can add your own images to it. So I can upload an image here. I will take these flamingos.
And if I'm not mistaken, they wanted this specifically for maps or something like that. Yes. Mm-hmm. I would never have thought of that idea, but
no, me neither. And then you can see the results here. So, are there any questions?
And this was done with the Photoshop mask thing on.
I'll show you how the mockup looks like in Photoshop. So to add a Photoshop mockup, you have to go to Assets, Surface Wrap, and here you can upload a PSD file. So let me download this one. So here is a smart object used. And then you just have to cut out this section, and that's it. And you have to name this layer to the number 1. And eDocBuilder recognizes that as the template layer, and that's all you have to do.
But okay, so it's based on the name of the layer that you have in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one question already. What would be the use case for the integration with WordPress? I think the use case boils down to what you want to do, Frans. I think the reason to embed eDocBuilder, in at least the reason that I see, is almost always something that has to be customized, can be customized by the client who enters or who visits the website, and that then can be purchased to be to stick with the current times. I can imagine having a site where you have the same as you have here for underwear. You have a site where you offer mouth masks. That seems to be a very popular product these days, and where you allow a customer to upload their own image that will be on that mask somewhere. And of course, the fact that you can work with an overlay like this would be cool, because then you can actually see how it's going to look on the final product, or at least you get an approximation of that. And like I said, it's easy to do it in Pressero because the integration has already been done. But if you have maybe not a generic WordPress site, but if you have something like a Magento website where you already sell stuff and you have that set up, then I can imagine adding eDocBuilder to provide the customization capabilities.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's mostly the type of questions that we get. I have to admit that the underwear one was a bit of a surprising one, to be honest. But the same with this. It's a horse. It's not a horseshoe. The horseshoe is for the horse itself. Someone who knows English should tell me what this thing is called, because I don't know. But the same with that example for the horses, the fact that you can see what this is going to look like on the actual object, so that you can have a mock-up where this is presented upon, I think is quite important as well, because that shows customers what it is that they're going to be buying.
Mm-hmm.
There was one other question in chat that we haven't answered yet. A stirrup. Thank you, Andy. One learns all kinds of stuff. There was one question about fonts here. What about multi-tenant environments, and how do you handle font licensing? And I'm not certain what where you're going with that question, Willem. Feel free to unmute yourself and speak up
if you're gonna use eDocBuilder with different customers, and they are using different fonts, and you need to upload those fonts in the system, how do you handle the licensing? Because one customer will buy the license for a font, and the other will it be hidden for the other users or not?
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, Helena, but I thought that the fonts, just as the images, are a property of a template, yes?
Yeah, that's correct. You can also add some global fonts.
Yeah.
Here's a font library where you can add fonts that can be used for all your templates, but you can also upload fonts on a template level, and then you can also only use that fonts in that specific templates.
Yeah, and I think that's where the answer lies, Willem. I think if you have fonts if you're the printer and you have fonts that you want to make available to all of your customers, I would assume that that means you have correct licensing for that. In that case, you can add them as a generic or a global font, and everyone can use them. But what we typically see, and this is, again, this is something that is already built into the Pressero integration, but you typically see is that the images that are used and the fonts that are used are specific to a particular template. So if you make a template for customer A, you can include their fonts so that they can choose from that. If it's a template for customer B, you can include their fonts. And they will not have access to the fonts of the other person. What you're seeing here is the management interface of eDocBuilder as well itself. afterwards, if you do an integration of eDocBuilder, it is up to the integration to decide which templates are visible or accessible to which customers.
Mm-hmm.
And what you see in Pressero, for example, is that when you publish a product on the web-to-print site, you can make either on a customer level or a group of customer level. So I could make one group of customers for a particular company and another group for another company. You can make products available to that group or not available. And it's a very common thing, of course, because if I have a site and one of my clients is a big bank, I want to make sure that when they go to the site, the only thing they see is their business cards and other stuff that they can order, and of course not those of the competition. But it is something that you have to make sure you do the right thing on a template level in eDocBuilder, and then either in Pressero or in the product that you integrate this in, you have to make sure that the right template is visible, accessible to the right client as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and it goes without saying, but you also have to make sure the font that is used in this case allows this kind of usage, which for some font licensing can be a little bit tricky because even if the customer buys the font, the fact that you're embedding it in a template on your system could be, so you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing there as well, obviously. But I'm not a lawyer, so I can't advise you on that. One other question, and this is one for you, Helena, because I don't know the answer. For the stirrup, we've learned that word now, so I have to use it a couple times. For the stirrup example, you showed the background image added to the proof, but not to the template itself. Where does the image come from? Where do you set that up?
So this image.
No, when I'm a customer and I look at this template, I use it. What do I get to see?
Only this, where we can change these fields.
Yeah, and then where does you had the image with the background of the stirrup itself?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from?
So when you're done editing everything here, you can click on Finish Editing, and then the customer will see a proof of how it will look like. And this image has to be added here.
Yeah, I think that was the question that we were...
under Surface Web. So you have to upload your PSD file here.
Okay.
I'll show you what it looks like in Photoshop.
And that's the same with a layer for...
Yeah. So just what's it called again? A smart objects, where that's called layer 1, and that's all basically.
Okay. So you have to, okay. So as they are editing the templates, they will see only the elements that you have on there, the sticker background, but once they say order, they get proof that shows it on the...
Once they click on Finish Editing, they will see a proof.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was what the question was, right, Jonas? Yes. Nice. Any other questions? Ladies and gentlemen, I think mostly gentlemen.
Yeah. Can I ask another question?
Yes, of course you can.
For the Surface Wrap, for the boxes, obviously the preview works that you apply the PDF, but I imagine that the file that should be printed looks different than how the the preview looks like. What comes out of the workflow integrator tool that I forgot the name of.
Pressero.
Yeah, the AWS or AWI or I'm not sure anymore.
Well, there the PDF file is used. So when you click here, after clicking first of all on Finish Editing, you will first of all see the PSD mockup, and then when it's loaded, you can click on View Proof, and then you will see the PDF, and that is used to print, basically.
Yeah, but I was mostly referring to the boxers example. So do you, in the output, do you see the boxers, or do you just have the penguins? Sorry, not the penguins, the flamingos this time.
Just the image is used there. But that was
just the image, so you do the rests and the workflow yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
What you always get is the high resolution version of, I don't know whether the proof is the same resolution, but the production file that you get is basically the templates. And in the case of this boxer example, the template is just one image that is being added. So you're going to get just that. In this example for the stirrup, you get a PDF file, a small PDF file that contains all the elements that were selected by the user.
But I'm confused now, but in the boxers example, the boxer itself is part of the template, no?
Yeah, but that was a special case, and Aleyant helped us to create that one. So
yeah, in that case, so the way it's used is a little bit different. Yeah, but the production file you want there is the image itself.
Yes.
And that's what you're going to get, of course, because this image of the boxer cannot be printed. So you get the image itself, the flamingos. Yeah.
Yeah.
This case works a little bit different because, and you saw that the Photoshop file is a little bit different as well. In one case, there is a layer. In this case, it is a smart object that is in there so that you just see the production file on top of.
Yeah, so in setup, you choose what your output will be with or without the image.
Correct.
Okay, thanks. And the word I was looking for was Andy added the automated workflow integrator. Thanks, Andy.
Automated workflow, yes. The little app that works together with Pressero. Yes, absolutely. That's not a name I even try to remember. Any other questions? Yeah, it's exactly because it's close to AWS, Andy, that I don't remember. When things are too close together, they're hard to remember. Yeah, so what we didn't show here, and of course we can if someone wants to at some either now or later, but what we didn't show is how this integrates into Pressero. But if you remember what we did during the last Pressero Café, in Pressero you define a product, and the product is what the customer orders. And in Pressero, you have three choices for products. You can make a product that where the customer selects nothing. For example, I have predefined pens, and I just want to give clients the ability to order 20 red pens and 50 blue pens. That doesn't require a PDF file necessarily. Yeah, you can do that in Pressero. The second option is that you allow the customer to upload a PDF file of their own. And that would mean a pen, but I can also upload a PDF logo, and that will be printed on it. And then the third option is that you integrate it or you couple it with an eDocBuilder template. And in that case, when the customer says order, then they enter into what Helena used here with the test button, where they can fill out all the different fields, and out comes a production PDF. And that production PDF is then uploaded to Pressero, and that's going to be the high resolution PDF for that particular order that is being done. So the integration there is seamless, but it is available as a separate product, so you could mimic that in your own website or in a custom-built website as well. And I don't know whether we have any examples of that, Helena. I don't think I know any of where you can see this integrated into another website.
No, I don't think so.
I've seen it in on the Pressero side,
yeah,
but I haven't seen one. That's something that we should look into. I haven't seen one where it's a different website that does the integration.
Yeah, me neither, but it is possible.
Okay, no more questions unless someone tells me the opposite now. No, apparently not. Thanks very much to all of you and have a great evening.